everybody, welcome to my channel, That's Friday Homeschool. My name is Mrs. T. Today we have our language arts picks for my first grader for the 2025 to 2026 school year. Now, language arts is a subject I really enjoy teaching, but this year there are so many more components to language arts versus the kindergarten year. So there are a couple of facets we really wanted to consider when creating our language arts experience. So we want to consider handwriting, phonics, which is our primary, our goal is first reading beyond everything else, spelling. We wanted to do reading comprehension, grammar, composition. There were just so many pieces. So I have a lot of pieces to my curriculum. I definitely did not go with a one size fits all kind of curriculum. So let's just kind of go through what our selections are. And we're going to start with handwriting. I feel like that's kind of the most black and white kind of selection. So we chose Getty to Bay, Book A, which we are almost halfway through. So we will definitely get to Book B as well in our school year. So this is an italics manuscript curriculum, these two levels, but it does eventually go into cursive. So this is like the precursor to cursive. So we are going to be working our way through that. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is going to be Explode the Code. We are going to be working through Book 2. This is a really good book because it combines elements of phonics and spelling and handwriting, and we use it just half a page to 1 page each time we sit down. We don't do very much, but we've been pretty consistent about using it, and I do really like this program. I think it's a great supplement in those 3 areas. The next resource that I haven't really talked about is actually this 180 days of reading for kindergarten. I actually bought this during his kindergarten year, and I felt like his reading level was not quite where I wanted it to be for the amount of independent reading I was hoping for him to do in this. Now I'm still doing it with him, but I didn't want me to be reading and him just answering questions. I really wanted him to read it. So we're at a point now where we're making our way through this. And we will not start the first grade book when we finish this. So we'll just be working on the kindergarten level in first grade. Now, phonics. Phonics is the primary portion of language arts that to me is that if we don't do any language arts all day, but we have to do one thing, it's gonna be phonics. So we are using All About Reading. Right now we are in level 1 still. We are near the end. You can see this is my little bookmark here. I think we're in the 40s now, chapter or lesson 41. So we will definitely finish level 1 during our first grade year. So I did already buy and prep level 2. So that is all ready to go. So we will be continuing with All About Reading. Now we're adding in spelling this year, and we did decide to go with All About Learning Press for that as well. So we are going to be doing All About Spelling level 1. Now this book, they do not recommend you actually starting the spelling lessons until you have finished All About Reading level 1, and we're going to respect that. But the very first lesson in All About Spelling has you go over phonetic sounds on flashcards, and we actually have started pulling those in very basically, or on a very basic level every day. So we just do 1 or 2 cards, and we're working through those slowly. So that way, when we get to the end of All About Reading level 1, we can just hop straight into our spelling. And I think that'll be a good fit. Now, I did find a program that is going to be covering or guiding us through reading comprehension, grammar, and composition. And we're going to be going with Lightning Literature and Composition, grade 1. Now, we've already we've started this one, and we are a little bit of the ways into it. And I will say, what they consider to be a single week of work, we do not finish in a week. So it will take us a little bit to get through this program. There is a lot of writing in this program, and my child, although we're working on writing, he's still relatively young and a little bit tired when he does too much writing. So I've been trying to cut back a little bit on the writing and modify it a little bit so it doesn't become a burnout subject or a burnout piece of our curriculum. But what we've used so far, we have really enjoyed. So it does consider, like I said, the grammar. We're learning basic grammar rules, basic composition, which we do a lot of that orally right now. And then we also have a lot of writing practice, summary, learning how to talk about literature and how to comprehend literature. in a really deep way. It is definitely a deeper language arts curriculum. Now, last year we used a piece of curriculum that we absolutely adored, and I thought that this was going to be ample. But when I found out the theme for the next level, I decided I had to pull it in. So we are going to be continuing with Exploring the World Through Story Level B. Now, I don't have a physical copy of this. I purchased it and I actually just look at it on my computer to guide me in the moment. But the theme for this is going to be Trickster Tales. And to complete this in about a year-ish, we will be trying to do this 1 to 2 times a week. But again, I'm not going to try to rush to get this all done in a single year, but it's a really fun curriculum. There's some memorization work, there's some geography that's pulled into it, and it's a really, really good program. We loved level A, so I'm excited to see how level B is going to turn out. Now, I have noticed with my reader that when he is doing his phonics, he does like variety. So I was kind of thinking, what can I pull in? We have a lot of books on our shelf, but it gets kind of overwhelming to have him select things, though he is independently pulling books off of the shelf to read by himself, which is really exciting. We also have a lot of readers, but the thing is, like, Bob books have a very specific style. You know, the Scholastic readers have a very specific style, and he doesn't always want that. He wants to read real books, if that makes sense. So I was looking into it and I ended up purchasing something from Thrift Books, and we're already using it and loving it. And we're using the Trophies series from Harcourt, and it is a 5-book series. Oof, I'll show you the rest of them here. They are kind of hefty here, but we got them for a really good deal, again, on Thrift Books. But basically, each book you get a theme, and the first theme, for example, in this one, I believe, is friendship. And you're going to be reading a lot of very basic stories. Your child is going to be reading a lot of very basic stories, real books that are in here, and they progressively get more difficult and more difficult as you go through. Now, I did not buy the teacher guide to help guide us through these, but inside here, they also have, like, included in this book a little blurb about the illustrator or author or both. They also include discussion questions, which are pretty easy to navigate through, so your child will read and then answer the questions. They also have activities and ways that you can take a lesson and bring it a little bit further. Now, what I do also like about this as a supplemental resource is they do dive into all sorts of different genres, and they start this discussion of what is fiction, what is nonfiction, what is realistic fiction, what is fantasy. So there's like this underlying theme as your child reads each book, where you start to also talk about the type of book, and that variety has been really, really nice. It's a nice supplement. So the way that we've been using this is on Fridays. This is what we start with first, and based on the quality of the story and the discussion, we won't do lightning literature, and sometimes we won't even do all about reading because it's really good reading practice. I feel like it's pretty solid for a single day. So that is pretty good. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is reading. So specifically read-alouds. So as a family, we like to do read-alouds. I do not have my child do anything like book reports or have like predetermined discussion questions. I feel like we have a lot of natural discussion as we go through the book, but I don't have like an outline of what the things that we're going to discuss. But I wanted to really just focus on enjoying reading as a family. So we sit down together, we enjoy a book, a continuous story, and we enjoy it. It's meant to be an enjoyable thing. So I picked some books specifically with my first grader in mind. So we are going to be reading as a family Charlotte's Web, The Akimbo Adventures, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, Little House in the Big Woods, and we are actually going to be reading Tales from the Odyssey. So parts 1 and part 2. These are written by Mary Pope Osborne, who wrote the Magic Tree House books, which we are also going through now, the Merlin Mission ones. Like, we're kind of going on these different rabbit holes. So these are books that I kind of put aside. We will pull from them when we need something to read, but we will also continue to explore books that interest us in the moment. Now, there were 3 books that I had put aside through last year For XYZ reason, we just did not get to, so I'm also going to keep that in our pile for consideration. So that will be The Borrowers. We watched, I think it's like Arietti, the movie, and he really, really liked that one. So pulled that one in. The Story of Dr. Dolittle, and also Heartwood Hotel. And we actually have 3 of these books ready for us to enjoy. So I put aside one, but we have a couple others. And then the last thing I just want to note, also in our pile to pull from when we see fit, are the picks that I specifically put aside that I thought would interest my younger child in pre-kindergarten, but first grader will also be present if we pick them up. So I did put aside The Fabled Stables. I put aside My Neighbor Totoro. Totoro is my pre-kindergartner's favorite movie of like all time. He loves Totoro. So I was excited to find this as a book. I also picked up Tum Tum and Nutmeg. The Toys Go Out, and then a continuation of one of our favorite character stories, Mercy Watson. We love her stories. So I got the 3 adventures on Decawoo Drive. And these books, again, I basically just keep them in a pile on the bookshelf behind me. And when we finish a book, if we don't have something planned or if something doesn't call out to the kids, I just grab one of these books. So no particular order, no particular goal here, except for us to have something on standby when we are ready to pick up another book. And that is it, you guys. Comment down below, let me know what you think, and tell me if you have any pieces here in common, or if you want to see the insides of any of these. And I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.